On this week's edition of Silver Screen News, shock horror, more Barbie news, but not the Barbie news you would expect. We also discuss that John Krasinski is Batman rumor. We talk about the end of the gold rush of the streaming era, and so much more.
And of course, we go back in time for Throwback Thursdays, movies released this time a decade ago, 20 years ago, and possibly even 30 years ago. Stay tuned to find out more on Silver Screen News.
Oh, hi, AJ. Hello.
Hi, Mark.
Oh, hi, Mark. We're meeting him soon, aren't we?
Yeah, looking forward to that.
We're going to be meeting Tommy Wiseau. Hello, everyone. We are back once again with the latest installment of Silver Screen News. I'm Nico Luro.
And I'm the one, AJ, Anthony Jordan.
And as always, we have got a plethora of movie news that is hot off the press, some news from last week, our Throwback Thursday section, as AJ mentioned. And for those of you who are watching, if there is a specific news show that you want to jump to, the timestamps are in the description below. If you are fans of movie news, then you know what you need to do. You need to hit that subscribe button because we deliver fresh movie news to you every single day of the week right here on the Silver Screen Dudes YouTube channel, as well as a host of other movie content such as reviews, top 10 shows, podcasts. We've got it all. If you like movies, this is the place to be. So do hit that subscribe button. And without further ado, let us talk about all the latest movie news in a section that we call Hot Off the Press.
Okay.
And for our first story this week, AJ, we've got something interesting because we are going to start off with our, I suppose at this point it's become our mandatory Barbie box office update. Our recurring segment called Barbie. Who knew?
This segment is not sponsored by Mattel.
Unfortunately, but Mattel do reach out if you wish for that to change. So here's the story, AJ. Blue Beetle dethrones Barbie. Never thought we'd say that, right?
Wow.
But it scores one of DC's lowest ever debuts. Now, take this with a pinch of salt. Blue Beetle is in its first week release, where movies make the majority of their initial money. Barbie is now in its fifth or sixth week. It took 6 weeks to dethrone Barbie when you consider that there are movies like Turtles, Oppenheimer, Meg 2, say what you will about it. There have been things chipping away at Barbie already. This is just kind of put the nail in the coffin. But here's the full story. Barbie is no longer number one film at the US box office. DC's newest superhero movie, Blue Beetle, review on the Silver Screen Dudes channel right now, has finally managed to dethrone the pastel pink comedy, which has ruled the pack for a month. It was pretty close, however, as Variety reports that Blue Beetle's opening weekend takings are about 25.4 million compared to the 21.5 million Barbie made in its fifth week, which is crazy. Blue Beetle's weekend takings are not only lower than projected, but also quite low for the DC Extended Universe continuity that began in 2013 with Man of Steel. The film has definitely had a better opening weekend than Wonder Woman 1984 did with its 16.7 million, but looks like it's done slightly worse than The Suicide Squad with its 26.2 million. Those films were also released during the pandemic, while Blue Beetle's promotion was limited. As has become apparent this year, though, opening weekends aren't necessarily the be-all and end-all when it comes to a film's overall performance at the box office. DC's Black Adam and The Flash had made 67 million and 55.1 million at the US box office in their respective opening weekends, which are pretty solid even if The Flash performed below expectations. However, Black Adam made less than 400 million worldwide by the end of its theatrical one, but while The Flash seems to be sitting around the 269 million mark. Meanwhile, Elemental earns 29.5 million in the US over its opening weekend, which is fairly low for Pixar, but consistently hung around the top 10 for a while and has made nearly 450 million worldwide. Blue Beetle is out now in cinemas, and as I mentioned, review is also available on our YouTube channel. AJ, your thoughts, please, on Barbie finally being dethroned.
Look, if you're going to tell me 5 weeks for a film to lose its spot, I mean, come on, you couldn't even get a song to stay that long at number one. It had to slow down at some point, and Blue Beetle being the one. Based on a review, I can't say how excited I am or what it's going to lead to, because look, congratulations, Blue Beetle, let it rain essentially, but I don't know if it's going to be 2 weeks in a row. That's the real take on it.
I was batting so hard for Blue Beetle, and so in that sense, I'm really happy that Blue Beetle has become the #1 movie. But as I've said in my review, this is not a good film. It's generic and cookie cutter as it gets. And I think that it's a very misleading article to say Blue Beetle dethrones Barbie. It's like, yeah, after Turtles and Oppenheimer and Meg 2 all chipped away at the Barbie armor, and it was still going at #1, which is an insane feat. So it's nice to see Blue Beetle doing well. It's not nice to see it underperforming. Anything else you want to add?
Look, as I said before last week, if cinema wins, we win, and that's the main thing. I would just like a stronger film to be the one to do it. So hopefully, I've got a question for you. Is it tainted with the Barbie 4, as it was known as, and is it a Black Panther movie? Does it equate to a certain demographic that will entitle it to continue to build, or is it going to just stay and meander essentially?
What you mean in terms of the Latino audience?
Yeah.
Well, listen, the thing about it is that in terms of having the values in it, I wouldn't say are necessarily Latino. I would say the values in Blue Beetle are universal, you know, values of family, values of sticking together, values of strength. So do I think there's something that's synonymous with Latino culture? No. But do I think that they're empowered to show Latino culture in the movie? Yes. I didn't see that. This is obviously in the UK, so we've got a different demographic to the US, but I didn't see a huge turnout of Latinos at the cinema I was at. So who knows? We'll have to wait and see if the Latinos show up for Blue Beetle. So far, I don't know.
Okay, well, either way, best of luck to Blue Beetle. That's all I can really put to it.
Best of luck for Blue Beetle. And hey, if you have seen Blue Beetle and you enjoyed it and you're different from me, I thought it was below average. That's fine too. Like, let us know what you thought of the movie down in the comment section below. And do be sure to like the video and subscribe for regular movie news if you have not done so already. Our next story, AJ. We continue in a world of having some fun, yes? Because our next story, you did. Screw it. It's just funny. Let's just go with this. Because I'm somewhat nervous, but also somewhat excited. Because AJ, Thor 5 is rumored to be in development at Marvel Studios. Who knew? That wasn't part of the programming, now was it? Thor 5 is reportedly in development at Marvel Studios. A new quote from Taika Waititi in Thor Love and Thunder, the official movie special book, ignited this speculation online. On social media, My Time to Shine Hello says that the MCU sequel is currently in development. They report that Taika Waititi is not yet linked. Internet page jump there. They report that Taika Waititi is not yet linked to return, but he hasn't been ruled out either. Likely due to the writer and actor strike, no contracts can be signed and nothing can be made official. Marvel fans were very rattled by the rumors after so long with no word on what was coming next for the franchise. Thor Love and Thunder was a bit divisive among the fan base. People still love Chris Hemsworth as the Asgardian hero, but the comedic elements wore a little thin for some viewers. Of course, Thor was always going to appear in another Marvel movie as part of an ensemble. Remember that the entire premise of Avengers Secret Wars is to get as many of these characters into scenarios with each other as possible. So while Hemsworth has not said anything concrete about Thor 5, it remains likely that Marvel Studios is at least thinking about where to take the franchise next. But Chris Hemsworth said he has no idea what's going on with Thor 5. But the movie is in development. So, AJ, your thoughts on Thor 5 actually being in development?
I miss Ragnarok. Like, Ragnarok is where I felt it should have ended for Thor. Obviously, anything that came... Love and Thunder was just there, and I wish it was more than just there. So, I'm not saying that Taika's lost the magic, but I don't know what we're going to get because Love and Thunder just didn't produce what I wanted. And I don't know what's left for Thor. Like, don't get me wrong, in a comic book, there are many, many, many editions that will go on. But I feel like everything has been said and done at this point. He's lost his brother, he's lost his dad, he's lost his family, he's even lost his hammer. You know, it is it very love focused or thunder focused? I don't know what we're gonna go with here. What is actually left? We've closed the chapter. He had stepped away. He became a parent. What are you doing? This feels very Toy Story 4. No offense to Seamus, but that's just the way it feels to me.
Yeah, I'm very much with you on this. Look, for Thor to continue, not as an ensemble, because he will obviously be in the Avengers movies, but for Thor to continue as a standalone, he needs to have some great challenge because, as you said, what has he not done at this point? They need to forget the faux pas that was Love and Thunder. Thor needs to come up against a villain that is a genuine challenge for him, that is even mightier than Hela. I'm using Hela as a benchmark because Hela obviously destroyed Mjolnir, his precious, and there needs to be stakes of that level for Thor to feel like a big deal again. That's why Ragnarok was such a perfect storm in a teacup. It had comedy, but it was also very dark as a movie. And we need to find that perfect match of comedy and darkness again for Thor to be, I hate to say it, but for Thor to be relevant again and for Thor to be entertaining again. Anything more you want to add?
Well, as you said, go back to everything that he's lost. He's lost his brother, his family. He's even lost Asgard. He's not even the king of Asgard because that's been passed over to Valkyrie. So what is there? It's lacking something that I can't picture from it. I love Hemsworth. I love Thor as a character. Hemsworth made me love Thor even more, but I just don't see what's left for him. That's just the way I see it. As you said, irrelevant.
Yeah, I'm very much with you on that. I'll tell you what's next for Hemsworth. This is just my personal pick. Chris Hemsworth should be the next Indiana Jones. There, I said it. Not Chris Pratt, Chris Hemsworth. I think he would be a great Indy. He's charming. He's handsome. If he drops a bit of that muscle weight, which you've seen him do in things like, what's that Moby Dick movie? Why am I blanking? Heart in the Heart of the Ocean, in the Heart of the Sea. Heart of the Ocean. No, Heart of the Sea. In the Heart of the Sea. He can drop weight. I could easily see Chris Hemsworth as the next Indiana Jones. Bring that on. But I want to know what you guys think. Are you excited that Thor 5 is in development? Let us know down below. And our next video, we keep the money train rolling. And our next video, speaking of money trains, yeah, we kind of spoke about this last week, AJ. About the cost of streaming, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I came across, so that kind of triggered me to go and read a bit more on this because we did the figures and we added up all the base cost of all the streaming services versus cable, and we found that obviously streaming is a lot more expensive. And we're not saying anything new here, but it made me go and look into this a bit more. And I was looking on Yahoo Finance, Yahoo News. And I found this article, which I think is really fascinating, called "The Streaming Gold Rush is Over." Streaming services like Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus, and YouTube TV were supposed to save us from overpriced cable packages that drained our pockets for decades. And indeed, for a time, those platforms threw themselves at us with low prices and the ability to share accounts with friends and family. Those days are gone. As we reported right here on the Silver Screen Dudes, Netflix password crackdown. That's a thing now. Disney Plus look like they're going to follow suit. And streaming is increasingly conjuring the ghost of overpriced cable bundles. We are past the gold rush era of streaming service television, explained Gartner research director and analyst Eric Schmidt. The business models that are premised, and this is important, AJ, listen to this. The business models that are premised on eyeballs, not revenue, are no longer viable. What does that mean? Remember when streaming services started? The great myth that we all bought as consumers, thinking that streaming services were doing well, was based on how many people were watching a product, right? We now know that doesn't mean anything. It's not about how many people watch it, which is why the password crackdown happened, yes? It's not about eyeballs. It's about money, as it always has been. It was never about eyeballs. Let's continue. but that's important. For users, that means rising prices, more ads, crackdowns on password sharing. For companies, it means users canceling, and this is the part I'm going to talk about in a moment. For companies, it means users canceling more plans more often when they run out of shows and movies to watch. Since 2022, each of the major streaming platforms have raised rates, introduced ad-supported tiers, or begun cracking down on folks who shared passwords. Netflix kicked things off in early 2022 when it announced it was raising prices for the standard plan from $13.99 to $15.49 and increasing the cost of its premium plan up to $20. It also introduced a $6.99 ad-supported plan and more recently killed its $9.99 basic plan. The company also began requiring users who share accounts with people outside of their households to pay $7.99 for access. Disney Plus followed Netflix's lead first by introducing an ad-supported tier of $7.99 and raising the price of its ad-free tier from $7.99 to $10.99 in 2022. And this month, the company said it's further increased. Anyway, we reported on this last week. Here's what I'd like to get into. Now, we talked about eyeballs, right? Now, streaming had a huge peak during the pandemic, of course, because obviously people couldn't go to TV, cinemas, people were stuck at home. Of course, that was going to increase, right? Now the password crackdown has happened and we've got all these different tiers, yeah? Now, as someone, you know this, one of the jobs I have is managing a streaming service for a platform. One of the biggest killers in the streaming industry, which I have to deal with on a daily basis, and these guys like Netflix and Disney Plus have to deal with on an even higher level, right? Churn. What does churn mean? Churn means people who tune in, watch what they want to watch, and then leave, right? Now, because the prices used to be so low, let me actually go vertical for this. Because streaming service prices used to be low, you could kind of treat streaming service like people who would have a gym membership and not only go to the gym 2 or 3 times a month. The gym membership's low, you're paying 15 quid. It doesn't really matter. It's not burning a hole in my pocket. It's there when I need it. People used to treat streaming services that way. It's $6.99 or $7.99 a month. I'm only going to watch it once or twice a month. Maybe more, but not necessarily. I know a lot of people who watch Netflix not that regularly at all. Now, with these increased prices, what you're going to see is you're going to see people coming in to get the show that they want. Let's say, you know, the new episode of Yellowstone is on Paramount Plus. The new season of The Boys is on Amazon. The new season of Love is Blind is on Netflix or whatever. So people will come on, they'll pay for their month, right? Then they'll leave once they've finished watching their show. Yeah? That's called churn. Well, that is going to kill the streaming services, especially if they're introducing an ad tier, right? They don't need you on for just a few days or weeks or maybe just a month. So here's what I think you're going to start seeing, and not far in the future. I genuinely believe you are going to start seeing locked in, forced 1-year contracts to avoid churn. You're going to see Disney Plus say, oh, you want to watch the new season, Mandalorian season 5 or whatever it is, or Ahsoka season 2, whenever that comes out. Sure, here's the contract for 1 year. No churn for you. And I believe they're all going to do that. We kind of discussed this last week. We said the price is going to increase. Now I see how. What do you think of this theory?
So there are several models that are available. One would be the 6 month to a year contract, and possibly they'll entice you by giving you a slightly cheaper rate by paying it for the year. Let's be honest, I've done it with PlayStation. It is what it is. You just pay it and you take it, and you don't have to worry about it coming out of your account every month. You just take the hit. I'll be honest, I've even done it with my TV license, paid 150 quid, and that was it. Or 180, whatever it was. I don't have to worry about it for the year. So these are options that are available. Another thing they may do, which could be in their benefit, is take the Amazon approach where it's the non-Prime section. So if instead of you being an actual member, you only want Ahsoka, that's fine. pay per episode or pay per series. You know, you just pay for that series. Your membership is then somewhat irrelevant to us because we'll make money out of the show. It guarantees money for that show, and it actually might prove to be somewhat viable to say, well, we'll continue making this show because it made us X amount. It now becomes a gated. It becomes pay-per-view essentially.
Yeah.
What I would like to see is something you mentioned before, is where these streaming companies realize that, you know, there is strength in numbers. So it means scratching your enemy's back and you bundle it, and it becomes that, you know. I'm an OT member. I know you are as well. I'm sure you keep getting that text. Get 6 months worth of Disney Plus free, and it's like, I've already got an established account. How are you going to work this for me? I don't know if it does. So you can see the desperation in there from these companies already. It's just a case of, I always say, do better. I need to see these companies do better, because these price hikes will, you know, I said it last week, and you've come onto it again. The whole churning part is that you come for what you want, you leave for the rest. Because as much as I'm watching Friends, I don't need to watch Friends. You know, it's done. Top Boy season 4 maybe is a different story. Like, I need to see how it ends. And this is where I can be in and out of the game. And this is what it's going to be. Yes, there are evergreen stuff, but you can find it elsewhere. And it becomes a thing. If I'm going to get adverts on my streaming platforms, I might as well just go back to ITV.
Well, what do you think about the streaming services doing this year-long thing I'm predicting?
It's a possibility. As I said, I see it happening in the sense that you will give customers a cheaper price for that one-off down payment. If you just said it's a 1-year contract, people just back off. They're like, no, I'm only here for that, and what? And then I've got to renew it because season 2 of that's coming. Whereas if you give a 6-month contract and be like, well, it's $12.99 here, but you could get it for the awesome price of £10 a month. Just that $2.99 difference makes me say, well, you know what? Ooh, well, maybe. What's a tenner? You know, okay, if I just do it, pay it off once, it comes out of the paycheck, I don't have to worry about it again. It's that weird balance of what you really want to go for and how it really works. It's not impossible though.
It just makes you wonder how many suckers are going to be duped into paying 1-year contracts across multiple streaming services, because it's already more than cable. That I guarantee is going to be more than cable.
What I want though is you very, very much need to be the lockdown on piracy is going to have to become insane, because people will find ways to watch what they want to watch, and that's when these platforms do start to crash. If you could do it for TV, you can definitely do it for Netflix.
3 words: in the zone. You know who I mean.
Oh yeah.
He on that.
Yeah, for sure.
Not going to drop your name, but you know who you are. I know you're watching. Love, bro. So I want to hear what you guys have to think. This dark future, this dark potential future of streaming. What do you think? Do you think it's going to be a year? Do you think it's going to be bundling? Let me know what you think, guys. And our next story, our last hot off the press story. We need to address a rumor. So just yesterday, before the record came up, there was this huge rumor swirling. Batman, the Brave and the Bold has found its lead, and John Krasinski is going to be Batman. Not so fast. Hold the fire on that. The same news outlet who reported that, Koimoy, the same people have now retracted that comment with the following article. So, from Koimoy, James Gunn dismisses John Krasinski's Batman casting rumors for The Brave and the Bold, reacts like he never thought about it, even vaguely. Quote, "We don't even have a script." James Gunn has decided to break the silence in rumors of John Krasinski playing Batman in DCEU. Not many at this moment are facing a constant trial on the internet where every move they make is being questioned and they are expected to answer. James Gunn finds himself amid a pool of questions every single day that ranges between curious to calling out some decisions. Sorry, the filmmaker who took the boss chair of Jesus, this is badly written. The filmmaker who took the boss chair at DCU with Peter Safran has been shaping the universe by entirely revamping it. The news recently said that he has found his Batman, and that too in another Marvel actor who is none other than John Krasinski, but he is now shunning the update. For the unversed, in the confirmed lineup of DCU's Chapter 1, Gods and Monsters, while Superman Legacy kickstarts it, he will also be joined by Batman at some point. The Brave and the Bold is where we will meet James and Peter's new Bruce Wayne, because we already know they aren't going ahead with Ben Affleck, George Clooney, Michael Keaton, or Robert Pattinson. He continues to be in the Matt Reeves world. So while the hunt for the new Batman is probably already on the DCU, latest reports had that John Krasinski has been cast as the new Bruce Wayne, who will headline The Brave and the Bold. But turns out those are mere rumors, or James Gunn at least wants us to think that way about it. So, Nicholas Hoult, Jensen Ackles, and John Krasinski are all reportedly in the race to become DCU's next Batman, and the latter got an upper hand when it was rumored he made the cut. To confirm the news, this is the article from yesterday. So essentially, Gunn has shut this down. AJ, I want to know: do you think we're being worked here by James Gunn, and it could be John Krasinski, or do you think that this confirms that the whole thing was just a rumor that's now been bugged out? And also, who would you cast as your Batman if not Krasinski or Ackles or any of the above?
Well, I was just wondering, maybe the shutdown came down from a bit of a Pam and Jim thing, and James Gunn's a bit sore. But jokes aside, the funny thing about this article, exactly. The funny thing about this article was I didn't realize that there was a Bruce Wayne I needed in my life. I didn't realize that John Krasinski potentially playing Batman is something that could work. I just never pictured it. But when I saw the article and it came about, and I was like, this could work. Now, if we're being played and it doesn't happen, then it's fantasy booking all the way. And I was like, that was a missed opportunity. But where he was everyone's Reed Richard, I'm like, he could deliver an awesome Bruce Wayne. I can see the duality of Bruce and Batman out of it. And it is something that I think I might be quite disappointed if it doesn't happen, but I'm very open to see who takes the reign, if whichever way it comes. But it was something I didn't realize I wanted until it came. That's my take on it.
It's an interesting take. I mean, I've never thought. I still can't think of John Krasinski as Batman. He's a stupendous actor, and he's definitely in shape for it now after having played Joe Bryan. I'd still probably need Jensen Ackles. Gun to the head, if I was to do dream booking, it's still Jake Gyllenhaal. I would love to see Gyllenhaal take on their cape and cowl. But I think that this article is telling the truth. I do think that this is bogus. I think that James Gunn has come out and said that it's not Krasinski. We don't even have a script yet, and I do believe him. I don't think we're being worked or played here. I just think this is all fan rumor. And while it would be cool to see Jim play Bruce, like why not? But I'm happy that this is all rumor and nothing more than rumor.
Yeah. There's not much more to add to that, really. Let's see what comes. Let's see who is brave and bold enough to step up to the plate.
I am curious if it really is the running between Ackles, Holt, and Krasinski. All three would work for me. I'd lean Ackles, and I know you'd lean Krasinski, but yeah, all good. I want to know what you guys think. Do you think we're being worked, and that this John Krasinski is our new Batman, or do you think James Gunn's telling the truth? Let us know down below. And that is it for everything that is hot off the press. We will now cut to some of the latest trending news from last week in a section that we simply call News Update. Yeah, so let's have a look at some of the trending news from last week. So kind of more in the realm of Barbie, but also no, we've done a Barbie story. Basically, the lead story was going to be that Oppenheimer is the biggest ever movie to not ever hit number one. It's like, well, yes, duh. So again, it's a dead story. There's two main news stories that are hot off the press. AJ, in the world of horror and movies, what scares me the most?
Nuns.
Yes. You know who else is afraid of nuns now?
Who?
The nuns' parents, Warner Brothers, because they are being sued by Valak. The Nun Actor accuses Warner Brothers of hiding her share of merchandise revenue. The actor who plays the demonic nun in the billion-dollar Conjuring film Bonnie Aarons is suing Warner Brothers, claiming the studio is hiding the true amount of money it made from merchandise featuring her character. Bonnie Aarons first played the nun, also known as Valak. Even saying the name freaks me out. In the 2016 horror film The Conjuring 2. The box office hit spawned a spin off franchise just for her character. The 2018 film The Nun and the impending sequel The Nun 2, set to be released on September 8th. I cannot wait for that. Aaron's complaints, filed on Tuesday in Los Angeles Superior Court, names Warner Brothers, New Line Cinema, and Scope Productions. She alleges that she was paid fixed compensation of $71,500 to play her role in The Nun, plus a $175,000 bonus that was tied to box office performance, which she received after the film grossed more than $365 million against a $22 million budget. Not bad. But the suit also claims her contract includes the stipulation that she would receive a share of Warner Brothers' gross receipts from merchandise exploiting Mrs. Aaron's likeness. Dig this, AJ. As the nun's face is entirely based on Aaron's physical features and requires no CGI or prosthetics, just a lot of makeup, her importance to the franchise is undeniable, the suit states. According to text of the agreement cited in the complaint, Aaron's was promised a pro rata share of 5% or 50% of the gross receipts from the licensing of merchandising rights. The lawsuit claims the relevant merchandise includes toys, dolls, decorations, pins, jewelry, t-shirts, socks, bedding, costumes, drinkware, and posters, all using Mrs. Aaron's likeness. Aaron's complaint claims that between 2019 and 2022, Warner Brothers sent her written statements showing her share of revenue, which she alleges was inconsistent with the extensive merchandise activities for her character. When asked to elaborate on the figures, the studio sent a spreadsheet that contained line items corresponding to only a fraction of the known licenses, she claims. Instead of accounting and paying in a transparent fashion, Warner Brothers obscures and hides the true amount of Mrs. Aaron's rightful share of merchandising revenues, all while continuing to exploit her, said Aaron's lawsuit. Aaron's is suing for breach of contract, breach of the covenant of good faith, covenants, and fair dealing and accounting. The 7 films in the Conjuring universe, The Conjuring, Annabelle, The Conjuring 2, Annabelle Creation, The Nun, Annabelle Comes Home, and The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, have collectively grossed more than $2 billion at the worldwide box office. Aaron's has a long career playing horrifying characters in films, including a startling and brief appearance as the Bum in David Lynch's Mulholland Drive. When contacted by The Guardian, Warner Brothers declined to comment. AJ, what do you think about all of this? Give me your thoughts on this.
Look, it's not nice to be screwed out of money, irrelevant of any situation, and you can't help but think the years quoted, and for this to only come out now, is it? And I don't want to be rude. Okay, the film's coming out. We've also got the fact that there's not a lot of work going on right now for everybody. So is it time to be like, excuse me, I'm owed some cash somewhere? But on the other side, if your likeness is being used all over the place and there is no CG, no nothing, it is you. And trust me, these companies make a lot of money out of this stuff, especially around the Halloween period. You have to say it's only fair. You have to say it's only fair because essentially makeup is one thing, but your likeness is the marketing tool. Yeah, I'm kind of torn, but again, whatever's owed to people, I think they should always get what's due to them. So I am on Valak's side essentially. Warner, do better.
Look, considering that this is a $2 billion franchise and this woman has so far only been paid $175,000, I know I say only, which is crazy, but you take my point. If she's owed money for residuals and for merchandise, and Warner Brothers are clearly being coy about being transparent with what she's owed, that kind of feels like where there's a smoke, there's fire. And it's not just toys. as I said, it's t-shirts, it's buttons, it's pins, it's bedding. Who the hell in their right mind has a photo of Valak on their bed? Like, I'm sorry, I wouldn't want to walk into my bedroom and see Valak the demon nun on my bed sheets. But if you're one of those people, hey, respect to you. But if you are one of those people, then Bonnie Aarons deserves to be paid because she's not getting what she's due. That's wrong, especially in a world where the actors are not actually able to work at the moment. They need to get their dues. Simple as that.
Yeah, that's fact. That's fact.
I mean, I can't imagine we're going to get much disagreement on this, but what do you guys all think of Valak the demon nun not being paid her dues? Like, I wouldn't mess with her. That's just me. Leave your thoughts and your comments down below. And we will now move on to our final news story of the week. Real fun one, this. I'm very excited, AJ, because Godzilla. Oh,
Nice.
you'll love Godzilla. Yes. The first Apple TV Plus unveils the first look at the highly anticipated Godzilla and Titans live action original series, Monarch Legacy of Monsters. Oh, I'm sorry. That image, that makes me think this is one of those John Hammond spared no expense moments. Oh,
yeah, it is a beauty. It is a beauty. It's eye-catching. It is definitely eye-catching.
That's awesome. Based on Legendary's Monsterverse, the new series premiering on Apple TV Plus stars Kurt Russell, Wyatt Russell, Anna Sawai, Kirstie Clemens, Ren Watabe, Mari Yamamoto, Anders Holm, Joe Tippett, and Eliza Lasovsky. Today, Apple TV Plus announced the title of its highly anticipated sci-fi drama based on Legendary's Monsterverse as Monarch Legacy of Monsters and unveiled the first images from the 10-episode series, yes, starring Kurt Russell, Wyatt Russell, and the aforementioned. Following the thunderous battle between Godzilla and the Titans that leveled San Francisco and the shocking revelation that monsters are real, Monarch Legacy of Monsters tracks two siblings following in their father's footsteps to uncover their family's connection to the secretive organization known as Monarch. Clues lead them into the world of monsters and ultimately down the rabbit hole to Army Officer Lee Shaw, played by Kurt Russell and Wyatt Russell, taking place in the 1950s and half a century later when Monarch is threatened by what Shaw knows. The dramatic saga spanning 3 generations reveals buried secrets and the ways that epic earth-shattering events can reverberate through our lives. Here's a few images of Kurt Russell. There's Wyatt Russell, who doesn't look dissimilar to him at all, eh? And there is a photo of Anna Sawai, which I'm imagining this photo we're seeing here. Sorry if you're listening on podcast, but I'm imagining this photo is the other angle to this photo.
Go back down.
Yes, the backpack. Look at the strap going across.
Backpack, but she's in front of the bus as opposed to behind the bus.
Maybe there's a Titan in front of her and she's turned around and Godzilla's there as well and she's caught between two monsters. Who knows?
It could well be. Yeah, could well be.
But I'm just going to leave that image up because, listen, Apple TV continued to impress me. If you're going to tell me that we're going to get a high budget 10-episode Godzilla series, I only have one thing to say. Take my money. Like, I have loved this new iteration of Godzilla. It has felt so true to nature. I am an unabashed defender of that Gareth Edwards movie. And I didn't have enough Godzilla. I thought they ball teased you fantastically in that movie. And the payoff at the end was absolutely worth the wait. Looking at these images, again, if you're watching on TikTok or Instagram, jump over to our YouTube channel where you'll see the images on our video. Oh, these images look so cool. I can't wait. Your thoughts?
Look, it looks exciting, and that's what it's about. It's about captivating audiences, and this looks like something. It's always good to get a fresh new TV series. You said take my money, and that's where the problem lies, because check the other news stories. That's what we're trying to avoid. But on the other side, good TV deserves good support, and this looks very interesting, and the premise of the story sounds like a good one. So no reason to really hate. Like, yeah, bring it on.
Bring it on. Yeah, all about a bit of Godzilla action. I cannot wait to see what the big guy holds. Just listen, as long as we get more plasma breath, I'm a happy guy. I'm a man of simple pleasures, Godzilla and plasma breath. Very good. But that is it for all of our news stories. We are now going to take it down the long and winding road, that dusty, horrible dirt trail of creaking bones and sore old muscles where we feel old, as we go down TBT Boulevard on a section that we simply call Throwback Thursday Movies.
Okay, guys, get those hashtags up. It's TBT time. We are going back in time just to check out all the films that were released this week in history. We're going to turn the clock back and we're going to see what was released this week.
And we're going to turn the clock back 20 years, AJ, because released 20 years ago this week, part 2. It always sucks when we do this, doesn't it? It's old, but it's not even the oldest part. That's how old this franchise is. Still can't believe that this part 2 of this franchise is 20 years old. Not as good as part 1, and part 1 wasn't even that good, but we're still going to talk about it. Part 2 of the Jeepers Creepers franchise, Jeepers Creepers 2, is 20 years old.
Yeah, this sadly is going to be an all-you situation because, yeah, me and horror have always had that relationship. I can't even remember if I've seen Jeepers Creepers 1. So, no, I haven't. No.
Jeepers Creepers 1 had an interesting idea. The first Jeepers Creepers, what was so cool about it when it is the first kind of 10-15 minutes where there's just this unknown van following these two. I'm pretty sure that what's his name? Not Long. Justin Long. I'm pretty sure Justin Long's in this, but I may be wrong. Yeah, it's just these two teenagers in their car, and there's this van following them. And instead of being at night, it's the middle of the daylight, which, at the turn of the century, that just wasn't a thing in horror. It was all like really dark, cheesy Hollywood blue moon effect, and let's make things go bump in the night. No. This was make things go bump in the day. And they find that there is this terrible looming monster that's hunting them, the Creeper. And they're alerted that when you hear Jeepers Creepers, where'd you get those peepers? When you hear that song, it's like calling the Candyman. Be warned, you're being hunted. And things go very wrong, and the Creeper kind of just has his way. That's part 1. Part 2 it built on that lore, but it was like, oh, let's go full balls to the wall action horror. And it was like the Creeper returns, and this time he takes on a bus full of high school students and starts slashing them one by one. It was like, look, you've really overstayed your welcome, and I don't even think this was the last in the franchise. There may be 1 or even 2 more. The first movie had an okay idea with a less good denouement. I mean, the second movie, hard down from me.
It doesn't sound impressive. The first one looked like it gave me a little something to entice me. And the minute you said it started to come into like teen bus, school bus being slashed, it hasn't sold me.
It's one of those things where, not even if you're a completionist, but it's one of those things like, if there's really, it's not like I'm going to say out and out, never watch it because it's that bad. No, like, see it once to say you've seen it and make your own opinion up about it. It's not so terrible that it should be banished to the realms of never watch, but it's not very good.
Fair enough.
It's really like, especially when you consider the pantheon of really good modern horror that we've had, especially in the last decade. This just
doesn't match.
Doesn't register. And we've got another movie this week, AJ, that's 30 years old. This is a pile of junk, but I've got a weird soft spot for it. But it is terrible, and I wonder if you've seen it. I'm ashamed that I know this movie, to be honest. 30 years old, AJ. Surf Ninjas.
No. I apologize. This is 2 for 2 for me this week. Even the poster doesn't even ring a bell to me.
Let me break it down. And here's the crazy thing. I've only ever seen Surf Ninjas once, but I still remember it pretty well, which some would say, well, that's testament to it being a memorable movie. It's memorable because it's so wacky. Like, it is bonkers. Like, okay, to give you a clue of what level of movie we're dealing with here, the two actors in it that you'll know are Rob Schneider
Surprise, surprise.
and Leslie Nielsen. Just that's the range we're in here, just to adjust your expectations. So this group of 3 surfer dudes get called on to fight a mythical war in their ancient land. But their ancient land isn't just a plane right away. We're not talking like time travel or anything. They just go to Asia, right? There's this evil General Chi, who you would think would be Asian, but he's played by Leslie Nielsen. Anyway, they get these powers.
It's worse.
One of them has the power of awesome fighting, which is, let me bring the poster up again. That would be bottom right. To his left, little young brother. This is real, what I'm about to tell you now. Has this one of those portable Sega Drive games. And it allows him Game Gear. That's it. He's got a Sega Game Gear. And he has a game on the Game Gear called Surf Ninjas. Meta! And it allows him to control the action that's happening in real life. And then you've got Rob Schneider, who's there for comedy value. That's literally his power. He's there for comedy value.
Sorry, can I see the poster one last time?
Yes, you may.
I didn't even recognize that was Rob Schneider. Okay, right. Okay.
Very young Rob Schneider.
Yeah. I was going to say, who's the dude who looks like he's too old to be in the poster?
The movie is again a thumbs down, but I'm actually going to say, watch it. Because it's not a good movie. But it's so weird and so bonkers and so out there. It's kind of like a train wreck. It's kind of like The Room. It's like I'd be like, yeah, watch it. Watch it.
This is interesting. It has a runtime of 127. Who knows? Available on Prime.
It's genuinely. It is available on Prime.
You have to pay for it.
So AJ Vision then.
Well, I did what it really.
Just check it out. You may never know.
I do. I'm not. Put it this way: you can, if you go in with low expectation, you can't be that damaged, and that's the way I'm going to approach it.
Yes, you can, because you can see Surf Ninjas.
Oh, dude, this feels like Tammy and the T-Rex territory.
That right there. It is exactly that.
Oh, dude.
It's Tammy and the surfing T-Rex.
Oh dear. Okay.
That's the level you should be expecting. Yes.
So, can I put the question out there? Please. Who is a defender? Who is the defender of Surf Ninjas? You got to be out there, guys. Let's hear it. Okay.
I'm saying watch it.
I hear that, but I want to see the people who are like, how dare you? I want to see the Point Break fans come out and be like, this is a thumbs up. This is the heir apparent, or the predecessor too.
In a way that people probably won't want. I agree.
Naughty now. Yeah, but guys, like, just give us your thought on both these films, please. Like, yeah, they're hitting that age, so I'd like to hear from you guys. What do you think of it?
30. And it was an impromptu. There was nothing to watch, and it was at my grandmother's house, back at Cornwall Gardens, and there was nothing to watch, and I was just turning the channels, and it was just starting, and it said Surf Ninjas. I was a kid, obviously, and I liked ninjas. And I was like,
and surfing was cool at that time too.
I was 6 years old when this came out. God damn it. Of course I like ninjas and surfing. This is literally target audience. There you go.
Yeah.
But that brings us to another conclusion of Silver Screen News. Thank you, as always, so much for joining us, guys. Do let us know what you think of all the news we've discussed today. There'll be the individual news segments coming out throughout the week on our channel, so do be sure to check those out. We are hopefully time allowing. I'm going to be doing a review for the Equalizer 3, which releases next week. Yes, at the time this video releases, it will actually be the day that our next news show releases. So keep it on the channel for that. And yeah, just thank you as always for helping us grow. We're on 250 subscribers at time of recording now. Hopefully that ages well, and we can look back in a few years and be like, oh, look, we're on way more now. That will be down to you guys. So do hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're into movie news and movie content, this is the place to be. But until next week, I'm Nico Luro.
I'm the one AJ Anthony Jordan.
Catch us on socials, TikTok and Instagram. Just search the Silver Screen Dudes. Also available on all podcast platforms. We'll see you next week. Bye, guys.